We met online, and we were both graduate students at the time. She sent me an email. I got this email from this beautiful, wonderful, amazing grad student out of the blue.
Right before I had met him, I had sort of come to this conclusion that I really needed to meet someone who was very kind. That was sort of this adjective that I had in my mind. And I was looking to meet somebody who was kind. And when I met him, he was just like the embodiment of that, quality.
We talked about conversion for, even before we had talked about marriage. Sarah had always been interested in Judaism, and, and I'd always discussed that, wanting to have a Jewish family and a Jewish life.
It's sort of an awkward thing because people assume that, I converted for him. But it really was, for me, it was like this wonderful silver lining or something. It was very much something that I knew I wanted to do, and this was my opportunity, because I'd been interested in Judaism for a really long time.
I was born and raised in Beth Shalom. My parents were members from very early on. I went to Sunday school and was bar mitzvahed there, and went through United Synagogue Youth, and basically Beth Shalom's played a very strong role in my childhood through my teenage years. It's a nice place to be, especially now as an adult. You're there of your own choosing and creating your own Jewish home.
My mother was quite religious. She kept kosher. She was Orthodox and went to a small shul in the Bronx. I went very briefly for a time because I remember learning the Aleph Bet, but I didn't go after that. My Hebrew and Jewish education came much later on when I was an adult. I moved to Chicago, to Skokie specifically. And it was really there that I began to become more interested in Judaism and to start to learn. So I've been catching up ever since. So it seemed like a good idea to move to Seattle. And that was about 9 years ago. Of course, I was accustomed to belonging to a synagogue. So I went over to Beth Shalom. I felt very comfortable there.
I really value being part of a community and an institution that has these, deep roots, and having friends of all ages, and having a community that represents that full span is really amazing and really unlike anything I've ever experienced before.
I enjoyed realizing that I was learning more about Judaism. They had very fine classes with very good teachers.
There's pretty much many ways you can connect with other folks at Beth Shalom, I found. Part of it is just that sense of basic identity, through the actual practice of Judaism. But then, possibly even just as important is that you find you have a lot of like-minded people in terms of really, not just talking about Judaism, but it's really a community that seems to want to put Judaism into practice in their daily lives. And I think, frankly, that's something that's kind of hard to find these days. The fact that Beth Shalom offers that has become like a nice focal point for both Sarah and I and how we live out our values in our daily life.
The actual conversion, like the day of the going in the mikveh, was one of the most incredible things I've ever experienced.
My children bought me a lovely talit, which I hadn't worn before. I say yortzeit for my brother, Sonny, and he was always very sweet and loving to his children. And one day came home complaining of pain in his chest, and this happened for two days. And he refused to go to the doctor, typical male, and went into work and collapsed and died. And I really feel his loss very strongly. And so when I talk about him, when I hold the Torah, he feels closer to me.
Again, I think it has to be the mitzvot of, it's the whole concept of tikkun olam. What really drives me and what I think embodies Judaism is this idea of taking your faith and putting it into practice and to making the world a better place.
We always have Shabbat dinner together at home on Friday nights, and we light candles and we say the blessings. And we started doing that, when I started to convert, so, a good year and a half before we got married. So it's been kind of like this stabilizing force, as we sort of mesh our lives together. That's been this really wonderful thing that we do.
I looked for new experiences within Judaism. And I said, okay, I'll buy myself the tefillin. It's saying, I'm here, God. It envelops me. It makes it easier to pray, and find that it enhances my knowledge and my emotional reaction. It really deepens the love that I feel for the religion.
I don't think I knew before I started just how big of a part of my life being Jewish would be, and being part of the Beth Shalom community and the broader Jewish community.
I do feel very strongly that my time in Beth Shalom, and obviously growing up in a Jewish family, has played a pretty strong role in my career path and pretty much how I've chosen to make my living and be a part of the world around me.